Welcome back, everybody, to the Running It Back Network Tour de France recap show with me. I'm your host, comedian Patrick Ramirez, bringing you stage 2 of the tour. It was a long one. 212 kilometers. We're going to do headlines. We're going to do winners and losers. We're going to do thoughts from the stage. And I'm going to take a look at tomorrow as well, because this tour is just really starting to unveil itself. And there was some cool stuff today. Not as action-packed or dramatic or fireworks as stage 1, but pretty interesting. There's a point I really want to make when we get into it. So let's start. It was stage 2. Jasper Philipsen in the jersey from his sprint finish win yesterday. So headlines of the day. I've got Alpecin goes 2 for 2. And also, this was the longest stage of the tour at 212 kilometers, and there were 2 really interesting climbs that I did not know how we're going to play out before the race. I didn't know if they were going to be neutral climbs and we saw it a sprint, or it would be livened up by the GC favorites. It was a punchy course, so I thought there was a little bit of intrigue. There was a little bit of uniqueness that some non-GCer could get into this if they had the good legs, if everything worked out. So start with headline number 1. Alpecin goes 2 for 2. They win today with Mathieu van der Poel in the sprint. They won yesterday with Jasper Philipsen in the sprint to get the jersey. Now the jersey changes hands, goes to Mathieu van der Poel. Who else has started their tour more perfect than Alpecin today? They were perfect. Today was a really chaotic day. They had 2 cards to play. Either if Philipsen makes it over the 2 climbs with the group, they could protect his jersey. If not, then Van der Poel has his chance to go for his own stage and get the jersey. Really hard to do today because the weather was an issue. It started out rainy, Cat 3 climb, then a Cat 4 climb at the end of this stage. Van der Poel was there for it. Had to fight off a little feisty move from Alaphilippe. Maybe feisty isn't the word, but had to fend off a move. Had to play tactically smart in the final to be there, but when the sprint came down to it, there was no rivals. He made that sprint his own pretty easily. Up the right side of the barriers, won by maybe a bike length and a half, maybe 2, against Pogačar, and then Jonas third, who joked that maybe he's a sprinter now. he out-sprinted some of the guys in that group that you would think would have beat him. So Jonas is in shape, although he's sprinting from the hoods and he had to go the long way around. We'll talk about the stage as well in the sprint. So Alpecin went 2 for 2. They laid out a plan and they executed perfectly 2 stages in a row. That never happens. That's so hard to pull off in any race, let alone the tour. And their tour started off perfectly this year. Tomorrow's flat. Maybe it continues to be perfect too. So headline number 2, longest stage of the race with the 2 climbs. And I didn't know how they were going to shake things up, as I said. But let's dive into what I actually thought was the most important part of the race, or maybe some of the most interesting part of this race. And it happens on that last climb, that Category 4 climb. We've still got a pretty select group riding in together. All the favorites are there. Jonas, Pogačar, Remco, not to mention Van der Poel, Alaphilippe, I think Enric Mas was in that group. But we had a pretty select group at this point. Alaphilippe makes a little move, which looks like he needed to do it like 10 riders back to even start this move, because he was coming forward forever, not even at the front yet. The move went from an attack to, I'm just going to ride in the front. I think he noticed he didn't get a gap. He's like, I meant to just ride at the front. He starts it off. We go up and over the climb. And then we have a situation where we had Kevin Vauquelin, Matteo Jorgenson, USA, off the front. I can't remember if there was one more guy. I think it was those 2. And Vauquelin starts motioning for Jorgenson to work with him. Like, hey, we got a gap. We're over the hill. Let's work. Maybe we can pull off this stage win. There's about 3 or 4 kilometers to go at this point. And Jorgenson will not work with him. His argument after the stage was he was not sure where Jonas was in the group, so he didn't know if it was good to work or not. Ultimate teammate, putting someone else before him. But let's think about this for a second. Jorgenson makes the front two. They've got a gap. What is the benefit for Visma? Say he knows Jonas is in that group for Jorgenson to work. Well, if Jorgenson is working with Vokalon and they go to the line together, number one, they will take away first and second place time bonuses away from Pogačar potentially. If you believe Jorgenson is a co-leader in this Visma team, that's a threat up the road, forcing Pogačar to work, forcing Remco to work, although I don't know if he was in this group at this point. If Van der Poel wants the stage, forcing Van der Poel to work as well to bring those two back. That was a real potential move. Let's say it stays away. Jorgenson wins the stage, gets the jersey. That would have been huge too. This was an ingredient in the big mix here that really could have been something, but Jorgenson did not work at all. And we don't really get to see how it would have played out. Who would have initiated the chase? Who would have worked? What would the conversations have been? Because all this time, Jonas would have just sat in those wheels, watching them work, watching them figure out what's what. That was something that I think did not even come to really the surface as far as potential, because Jorgenson never worked. He looked instantly back for his teammate. But that would have really been something. I really wanted Jorgenson to work in that group. I thought they had a chance. We know Jorgenson's a powerhouse. Vokalon, it's stage 2. He could have had good legs. Ultimately, I don't think they would have stayed away, but it could have forced the hand of Pogačar, Remco, and Van der Poel to work, to at least bring that back, all the while Jonas could have sat in the wheels. And who knows? He's a sprinter now. Maybe could have out-sprinted them. That was the most intriguing part of the stage for me today. Let's go through the stage in general from the beginning. We talked about weather coming up. It started pretty rainy, so we got to see all the teams' version of rain jackets. Who went vest, who went full jacket, who went fender, who went shoe covers. Always fun to see how teams and riders approach clothing as the day changes, as the weather changes. Do they go back to the car? Do they hand it off to a teammate? Do they throw it on the side of the road? We saw a lot of riders do the move where they're just taking teammates' clothing and just unzipping it and stuffing it in their jacket. So now it looks like they're wearing a full-on Santa suit with a pillow in their shirt. I always enjoy seeing that. It just seems horrendous to have to go back to a car, give clothes through a window, ride back into the group. Tough day for the workers today in the rain. Luckily, it cleared up and it was dry for the finish. Okay, second point I wanted to make watching the stage. And overnight, the big story was the Remco losing the 40 seconds of time. And like when asked about it, I think he had one of the most insane responses I've heard, saying like, "Oh, we missed the split. It was about 17 to go. We thought nothing else was going to happen, so we fell asleep." What do you mean you fell asleep? You're coming to the end of the biggest bike race in the world. It's already been windy. It's the first stage, and you thought nothing was going to happen, and you fell asleep? I didn't understand that response at all. Sometimes I think we give cyclists too much credit for thinking during the race, thinking there's all this strategy and they have to think sometimes they just ride hard and that's all they know how to do. And sometimes they mess up and they forget things like this, that, a race actually happens at the end of races. So my question is, are cyclists actually smart? Is Remco smart? Because stage 1 would believe you that he's not. And that response was completely idiotic. We fell asleep. We didn't think anything was going to happen. Also overnight, bleeding into today, Two-Door Cycling, my favorite Division 2/3 team, whatever they are. It was the best team, so they get to wear the yellow helmets for stage 2. They're the best overall team. And give it to Alaphilippe. Did his best team helmet good today by being active in the front of the race, showing his face, being in the selection. Two-Door Cycling, really fun team. I hope they get a stage here. I won't even mind if it's Alaphilippe. I want him to mix it up. He gave us a little taste today. Didn't go anywhere, but he was in it. The last climb. We talked about it. What's this Cat 4 climb going to be like? And we saw it split up the group. It separated the sprinters. So not a sprint finish, a selector. It turned into a puncher's stage today. So that's what the Cat 4 did. Did not keep the group together. Then we get to that Cat 3. I'm going to talk about that Cat 3 climb. The second to last climb. Visma controls it. Remco a little too far back for my liking. And Primoz is nowhere to be seen. So that leads me to ask the question, is Primoz out of this tour as far as any hopes of GC already in your mind? Because he has 2 stages. He's lost time on both. He doesn't seem to be anywhere near the leaders when it comes to climbing. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for top 5 for Primoz. It's not like I have faith of him in the high mountains. It's not like I have faith of him in these mountains because he's clearly not hanging. So Primoz is out of GC for me. There's no way. I don't see anything changing. We always do the thing where we say like, oh, he's a 3-week racer. He's good in the 3rd week. When has that ever resulted in a win for anybody, though? I've rarely seen that. Then we get to the final Cat 4. Jonas on the attack over the top. That was kind of interesting that he put in a little dig there. Then I said Matteo had the good teamwork. He doesn't work with Vokalon. He's looking for his teammate. Would have liked to have seen him work. Didn't happen. Van der Poel wins the sprint. Pogacar second. Jonas third. The Alaphilippe attack was pretty fun. I call it the attack, which turned into the lead out. Gets 4th place in the sprint. And if you watch that sprint, especially the overhead angle, I thought Jonas took a long line around a guy who was in 3rd position to go around him the long way. Maybe he could have been right on Pogacar's wheel. I don't think he had enough to come around him. But Jonas definitely did not have the cleanest sprint in that final. A couple notes, too, on today's stage. Wout van Aert. They said in the interview with Jorgenson and Jonas that Wout van Aert was a potential card to play for the favorite for their leader of the stage today. Not happening. Not happening. Wout is still, I guess you would say, riding into form or seeing what his legs are like as this tour keeps going, because he comes in 3 minutes 36 seconds down today. So when he noticed that it wasn't happening, he pulled the plug on that final climb. But right now, Wout is still an ultimate teammate. He's doing a lot of pulling in the middle to early portions of the race. He's always there for his leader. So teammate Wout is the order for this first week, or at least these first 2 stages. Tomorrow's flat. We'll see what happens if he can get in the mix tomorrow or they protect. Little tidbit that I noticed on the replay today. Sometimes you have to look for these in-between moments. Did you catch Biniam Girmay and Jonathan Milan getting into it after the intermediate sprint? Getting a little hot there. A little bumping. You saw in the replay that there was some shoulder rubbing, but nothing bad. We've certainly seen worse than that. They crossed the line and Milan's just lighting up Biniam. Just giving him the Italian, don't touch me. What are you doing? Didn't understand it, but Milan wanted those points. Something happened. Something upset him. So that was a fun little tidbit. For by and large, the beginning to middle of this stage was uneventful. We had the standard breakaway crashes again today. That was fun. Pretty hard crash. Those crashes on wet roads where you lose your wheels and then you see the riders get their head smacked. It's hard to watch. I'm glad they didn't replay it over and over again. So we had that. We had a little fight going. Ultimately, stage 2, day for the punchers. The jersey changes hands. Alpecin has got to be the best team to be having the dinner with right now. 2 wins in a row and the jersey both days. This is great. This is great times for Alpecin. And, hey, Van der Poel, I didn't mention this. Guys flying around in private jets. Let the man live. I love how as soon as anybody signs any sort of contract or endorsement or anything, everybody just got to go attack the guy. Got to give him shit. Here's a reason to make a headline. And then he has to come up with an asinine response as well. Hey, what are you going to do? These guys make a lot of money. They don't turn down $1 million deals, folks. All right, let's talk the USA report. That's right. We've got 5 riders who are from the USA in the tour this year. I think I said 4 yesterday. I'm wrong. There's 5. I'm going to name them. We have Quinn Simmons, Will Barta, Matteo Jorgenson, Sepp Kuss, and who's the last guy I already left out? Nielsen Palace is in today. Is in the race. Today, Jorgenson and Palace, I think, finished next to each other. So they're in the front group. Will Barta, somewhere in the back. Quinn Simmons, somewhere in the back. He's doing a lot of work in the beginning to middle part of the stage. He was in the front again today. I'm not sure exactly what his plan is for this race so far. And then Sepp Kuss, who I forgot was in this race, and he lost a little bit of time today, but let me tell you why I'm okay with that. Kuss does not ride well when he's in the lead of things. He has to be somewhat in the back and in support from there. I think it's some weird recipe of the pressure's off him. He can just ride support from kilometer this to kilometer this. Don't worry about the finish line. Support. I think he's best at that. Not worry about it. I think he's going to be vital when we come to that first mountain stage, those first mountains. So that's the USA report. I can't say there's a stage for a US rider coming up. We've got the first mountain stage is stage 10. Realistically, Quinn Simmons is going to be looking for a breakaway in week 2 or 3 is my thought. Nielsen Palace is going to be looking for a breakaway on a mountain stage would be my prediction. Will Barta, I think, is getting experience, is getting support roles. There's always a breakaway option for these American riders who are in-between riders, climbers, rollers, strongman. Kuss support, so I don't see a stage win for him. Jorgenson, I do see a potential for a stage win, especially as the GC starts to shake up. And if Jorgenson in a spot where he's 5th GC, 6th GC, maybe a minute to 2 minutes back, and he can play that role of going off the front and forcing the hand of other riders, there's real potential for that. I think Visma sees what happened today and says, like, we've got a card to play in the future if this situation happens again. Like anything else, it's the juggernaut of Pogacar you have to figure out a way to beat. And if you got 2 people in the GC lead, maybe that's the card you can play. Force Pogacar to chase somebody who is just in reach of virtual lead or upping their spot in the GC. I think Visma really needs to look at today as a card to play in the future. Okay, that was the USA report. We're still waiting for something big to happen. We've got really good riders from US here. I think somebody's going to get something out of this tour in the form of a stage win to it. Quinn Simmons is such a weird rider. I wouldn't even be surprised if somehow he's in the polka dot jersey after a long breakaway day where he just eats up points. I don't know what kind of rider he is exactly, but he's super strong and he's tailor-made for these long, hard days. I don't know how well he can climb, but I don't know what kind of rider he is, and it wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden he's good in the mountains for a day. Let's hope. Let's hope, USA. I really do hope. We had Domino's Pizza in the shot yesterday during stage 1, so let's hope for USA. Maybe you should have ate some of that pizza. The broadcast today was a little funny. They had Van Garden and Bookwalter kind of describing all the things a break can do as far as a time gap. They don't want a big time gap, so this is what they can do to keep I don't think any of these things really actually go on. Back to our cyclists actually smart. I think we just talk and talk and talk. In a race, all these guys do is go. If you're in a breakaway, you want to see if you can stay in the breakaway. If you're in the group, you want to see if you can limit the group, if you have a sprinter, you have some interest. That's about it. I don't think that much thought actually goes into it. We talk a lot, but I don't know if actual thought goes into managing a break on the road. My thoughts. Okay, the broadcast was fun. Nothing of note, really, other than details from a somewhat normal-ish stage until the very end, which was fun. I wrote some numbers down because I'm monitoring other media during this tour. There are 3 shows I listen to regularly post tour stage to get the insights of it. I listen to The Move, which is now on Peacock, with Hincapie, Lance Armstrong, and Bradley Wiggins now is apparently going to do all 3 weeks. They have Johan Brunel, who's zooming in. They have Spencer Martin, who is the whiz kid of cycling. So they've got this team around them. That's one I listen to. Although today, Bradley Wiggins was a little checked out. I have to say, Lance goes, we're here with George Hincapie. And he goes, hey, how you doing? Great stage today. And Bradley Wiggins. And Bradley is just silent. Doesn't say anything. Then I listened to the Lanterne Rouge. 2 young guys who I think really know their sport and treat it from an analytical approach and inject their own little personalities to it. And I think the thing I like about them the most is you can tell they're friends. You can tell there's a friendship there. And they are on the same wavelength when it comes to enjoying the sport they love. I listen to them. And finally, I listen to The Butterfly Effect with Chris Horner, who is probably the most information necessary and unnecessary to throw at a viewer. So much goes on there. He will be probably the least production value of the 3 shows. He's got a sponsor now where all they did was hang a banner and this banner sponsor is just behind him. No QR codes, no links, just like, here's a banner behind me. That's our sponsor. Go check it out. But I love it. I love it, which goes to show you, like, information and the content is king, because even though the production isn't as good as the other 2, the content is there. He's got decent audio. You can see his face. He's going to throw a lot of information from you to you. So I would say that's the upper class of information when it comes to a cycling show. So why did I bring up these 3? I monitored the viewership based off of YouTube views for those first 3. Here's how it breaks down. In 3rd place, the Lanterne Rouge got 35,000 views for their Stage 1 recap show. 2nd place, The Move got 2nd place with 52,000 views on their YouTube video. Now, a lot of people saw it on Peacock, so maybe you split the audience somewhat there. But 1st place, The Butterfly Effect, 58,000 views. I don't think they got anywhere near that last year. And of all the uploads, The Butterfly Effect with Chris Horner was the last one to get uploaded yesterday as well. And it was 58,000 views as I record this Sunday afternoon. So I'm going to keep monitoring them and see how their views go as this tour continues, because in a world of content and personalities and algorithms and who's watching what, these are the big 3 for me. And I haven't heard a lot of friends say a 4th one that they watch or listen to. So I'm going to see how the rest of these do when it comes to viewership. So keep an eye on that. I just added that category. All right, winners and losers for it. Most popular segment of the show, winners and losers. Winners, of course, Alpecin, again, 2 stages, 2-stage win. The jerseys, both days, 2 strong riders, and tomorrow is a day they could win too. There's no way anyone would want to be in a team meeting, a bus, a team dinner in that Alpecin team. No way, no other team you would want to be in right now. Honorable mention for my other winner. Not a true winner, but I'd say honorable mention. I'm going to give it to Alaphilippe and Tudor. They got to wear the best team helmets today, and they showed up. They did their sponsors proud by being in the front, giving it a go, being in the mix. Alaphilippe, I mean, you forget that this would have been an Alaphilippe stage for sure 5 years ago. He would have attacked on that climb. He would have attacked on the climb before, on that Cat 3 climb before, and he would have held it, or he would have animated the race. So Tudor gets an honorable mention for the winners. Losers of stage 2, there's only one. It's Primož Roglič. There's no way he's going to compete at this tour. I don't see it. I'm worried about his team. For some reason, even though there's a lot of good riders in the team, I don't think they can support him. I don't think he can support himself. We saw it with Remco today, like too far back. too far back going into these climbs. You know these climbs are coming up. You know the roads are narrow. It's stage 2. You should be further up. Jonas, Pogačar, Van der Poel all figured it out. I don't know what you can either. We talk so much about support riders, but these guys need better support in positioning going into the climb. We don't need someone pacing you up the climb. We need support to get you in that 10th position going into a narrow climb. Those roads were narrow. That Cat 3 climb was narrow. They were single file. There was not a lot of room to ride two riders next to each other. And Remco was too far back. He didn't lose time today, keep in mind, somehow, some way. But if anything happened, I think if Pogačar was sitting conservative and pretty today because he didn't really make an effort until just following the wheel of Van der Poel. If he had stretched out that group, there's no way Remco would have had an answer to get near that wheel and he would have lost time. But he didn't today. So main loser of the stage today was Primoz. And I haven't heard a lot of talk about it. I haven't heard a lot of talk about like, Primoz, you lost time again today. You're out of position again. You lost time in the crosswinds. You lost time today in the short punchy climb. Do we really think he's going to do anything in stage 10 in the mountains? The time trial is going to be interesting for me and Primoz because we know Jonas is going to go fast. We know Pogačar. We know Remco. What is Primoz going to be in the mix? What's best case scenario for Primoz? Realistic best case scenario for Primoz in this time trial? It's to get 4th? Realistically, is he beating Remco? No. Is he beating Pogačar? Probably not. Jonas? Maybe. But probably, there's no way. There's no way. The best thing you get is 4th, and by how much time back will he get 4th? He's going to lose time again. So that is very curious. I think his tour, whether his tour is GC or go for stage wins, is hinged on the time trial. And that's stage 5. I wasn't happy with his performance. All right. Those were the winners. Those were the losers. Headlines, we did them. The USA report, we did it. High hopes for USA still. How great would it be if Quinn Simmons wins the stage in the USA Champs jersey? Let's hope. We talked about the focal point of the race. The most intriguing part of the stage, as I thought, was the Jorgenson Vokalon 2-up move that ultimately was not. But I hope something in the future. I think viewers going to see something for the future. Winners and losers, we talked about it. And lastly, tomorrow. Tomorrow's stage is listed as flat. It's 178K. Should be a day for the sprinters. Guys that need to be on watch for today, they need to be in this mix. They need to open up their legs. It's Tim Miller for Soudal, who has not had a great start to the tour. And Jonathan Milan from Trek. So maybe we could see a Quinn Simmons lead up. Possibly. You know, he likes to go long, so maybe 20K up. He needs to get in the mix as well. These sprinters want blood. They want to get a taste. They want to get in this. Everybody's having fun. How come we can't have some fun? And of course, Philipsen is hot. He had the jersey. He won the first stage. He's like, let me show you guys what I can do here. Let's not forget Biniam. Biniam needs to get in the mix here. He was the only guy to, get even with Philipsen in stage 1. So if we have a true sprint tomorrow, all 4 of those guys are represented with a good lead out, or at least in that mix going into it. That's going to be the best feeling. That's what I'm the most hopeful for is tomorrow's. The 4 guys, Miller, Milan, Biniam, Philipsen. I'm leaving out one guy going head to head in a drag race to the line. Let's hope for no crashes. Let's hope for nothing dumb. Let's not hope any dogs run on the road. Protests. Let's hope there's no protests, French. Keep it on the side of the road. Put your sign out there. Don't be running in the road. French always protest. Hope that doesn't happen tomorrow. All right. That was, everybody, the Running It Back Stage 2 recap. We're only 2 stages in. I'm already loving this tour. It's going to be a lot of fun. How are you guys doing? Did you go for a ride? Did you watch the tour afterwards in a replay, or did you time your ride to get back and watch the last hour of it? All right. First stage show went good. Couple views in there that I wasn't expecting. This is number 2. If you have any questions, comments, put them in there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All my stand-up comedy is up there as well. I'm going to be with you every day for this tour, recapping it. And my co-host Dan Dallin is going to be joining me as well for some stages too. So enjoy your Sunday, everybody. Keep it going, tour. Let's hope for a great stage tomorrow. Thank you, guys. We'll see you for stage 3.